and my hips drive me crazy. Like
From what?
if I fly, I don't know, maybe it's just
Do you stretch?
I do stretch.
Yeah.
I'm actually overly flexible. I'm like kind of double jointed everywhere. And so I have a lot of like shoulder, like my shoulder will just slip out.
What?
All the time. Like it kind of just does weird things and my arms twist in weird directions.
Are you physically strong?
Physically strong? I think I'm pretty strong. I've been stronger.
Maybe it's like a muscle thing. Maybe you need to exercise,
but
weightlift.
I really, really loved lifting and doing all my weight training, my resistance, and then the veganism. I was kind of trying to, I think I'm really kind of building myself back up to realize what works. So I'm actually right now in a very experimental period. It's actually fun to talk about with you because I know that you kind of have probably some good suggestions on that. But I'm experimenting a lot with like my diet and my body and my routine and my exercise right now. Because, I mean, kind of like, you know, leaving veganism is really terrifying. Like you said, the public kind of will destroy you for that. And
How long were you vegan?
I was vegan from 2013 till 2019.
So in 2019, what was the first thing that you ate?
My ex-husband cooked me some fish on the grill. I cried like for a long
cried
time.
For the fish?
I cried for the fish, and
Those little fucks. They don't even take care of their kids.
Listen, I have some videos on my phone of my fish at home. I have a blowfish that runs to the side of the tank every time I come home, so it really hurts me to eat.
Because it thinks you're going to feed it.
And I do every time.
Yeah, that's it. That's
I
all
know.
it is.
If you know what, I haven't really had.
You get shot in the head, that fish doesn't give a fuck.
Well, that's what my ex said about the dogs, and I'm like, I can't do this. The dogs, and he's like, watch this. Starts feeding them the fish. They're like, they're happy, you know, they'll eat it. But so that's what I had, and it was because of a hip pain. I had actually we were flying to, I think, Poland or something on a tour that I was on, and I started sobbing, crying on the plane because I couldn't sit any longer because my hips were hurting so bad.
So this was pre-gluten?
And laying on the floor.
Pre-quitting gluten?
Now I'm back on gluten. So I did a trial period of 18 of like kind of removing things because I think when you try all these different diets, like, okay, now I'm going to try keto, now I'm going to try vegan, now I'm going to try this. You're doing it at such a kind of, it's really hard to know what's affecting you. Right. So I tried to go slowly, like, okay, it takes a freaking long time, but going through and going, I'm going to eliminate this now, and then I'm going to put it back and see how I feel. My body, when I am supplementing, especially with the omegas, like the omegas have really changed my life for me. I think, again, you know, you kind of referred to me as something like a car, and I think that we are kind of like a car, and I was like so dry from having none of these healthy fats in my diet. I did what I could with like as many freaking avocados a day as I could have and other things, but it's hard to get the fat.
Yeah. It's not as bioavailable.
And
when
your
like
brain is, you know,
like
your
that.
brain really needs those fats, and you know, it was really, really hard for me.
Fish oil is the way to go.
Yep.
I know people don't like it, and they don't like the idea behind it. But god damn it, it's so good for your brain.
Yeah, I love. I do kind of like the fish egg Vital Choice also because
that stuff's great.
I love Vital
Fish
Choice.
eggs the way to go.
That's what I do.
Yeah, I mean that's
it's really
the best
helped
way
my
to get your
hips
omegas.
so much. Now
well, that's an inflammation issue then.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think in general my brain, like you're saying, it's kind of on fire. It is inflamed.
Yeah.
I think in general I'm inflamed. So I'm looking for in my life, not just in kind of like dating or relationships, but in general, the people I like to have around. I like to have those kind of water signs. I like someone that can kind of, or earth signs, but I love water signs because I love being. And in general, like I love people that are kind of like fluid and that can kind of put some of that on my flame because it gets overwhelming sometimes, the amount of heat and like energy that I generate. I actually was reading something about ducks that's interesting, the way that ducks handle their energy.
Ducks?
Yes.
How do they handle their energy?
So ducks, you know, I guess their form of exercise. So apparently, I was reading this in a book last night. I don't know if it's, I guess it goes with my realistic children's stories. But I was reading about ducks, how they like kind of ferociously flap their wings and then they kind of swim off in peace, and you'll see these weird kind of patterns that they do, and especially if two ducks are together. So you throw a piece of bread in the water, one of the ducks get it, they get a little fight going on. Then they both separate ways. They go to their own spot and start flapping their wings all crazy to get out some of that energy. And then they just swim away in peace. And I'm like, I guess that's kind of what you're saying that I need.
Yes.
I need to be more duck-like. I need to, whether it's the beginning of the day or the end of the day, I need something to go and like flap my wings and get out that extra energy, because I think that's part of the physical pain. Like when I went to go check in on the pain before, and I've been to a lot of people here, and no one seemed to help me with the physical pain. It actually gets really, really bad. Like especially if I fly, I usually have to lay on the ground. because my back hurts me so bad and my hips hurt me so bad.
That's crazy.
I know, and I'm
for
too
you
young
to be
for
this
that.
young. Yeah, that's crazy. And there's no real injuries you could point to that
There's
caused
no injury.
this.
So I overdid Ashtanga yoga for a couple years because I am extremist.
Right.
And there's a little controversy between Ashtanga yoga and the kind of like
hip injuries.
Yeah, hip injuries.
Did you get an MRI?
Back.
Have you ever
I've
got
done
looked
everything,
at?
and everything looks good. You know, everyone says we have no idea, you know, kind of what's going on, but they're not really taking into consideration my lifestyle, which that has to do something. You know, I have to put it somewhere. This amount of energy, I don't always get it out. You're right. I need to freaking run more. You know what? The running helped me a lot when the house burned down too. In South Africa, I was running every day.
Yeah, I would think that someone like you need something rigorous.
If I don't work out, I'm not a great person.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I could guarantee you.
Oh yeah, we don't do calls or work meetings before I work out. We know this.
Okay.
We've learned from the past that.
Do you have a trainer?
Very important. Yeah, I do.
Is it a good trainer?
I have
like
a
someone that kicks your
badass
ass?
trainer, but I need to. I think in times where my trainer is kind of like family, like for me now, and maybe getting a little too soft,
a little too comfortable,
a little too soft in the way that when I'm going through, like, you know, this week I went through like another public breakup. I had the VMAs. The song was coming out at the same time. And when I got into the gym, like I would sometimes just start crying because I love them like family. So when you walk in, I would just start crying.
Because you know that you could be comfortable around
Just comfortable.
him.
And then I think that it's hard to go, okay, now I'm going to beat your ass because I think he thinks life is beating my ass. But maybe I need just... Maybe it's
separate
tough love.
those things.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's a job to be done.
Yeah.
All that emotion's great, and it's wonderful that he loves you and that you guys are friends. And
I
you
think
can
it's
be
a little
loose
bit
like that.
my bad for like wondering how hard I want to be pushed.
Well, it's also you're the boss. That's the problem.
Exactly.
When you're the boss and you're Miley Cyrus, you can't say, "Listen, bitch, it's time to go to work."
Yeah.
You know.
He'll do it to me sometimes, which I like. Yeah.
But you can't do it too much because then you're like, no, I'm the fucking boss, and then you got.
Well, then I think I get.
Relationship.
Then I think I want to kind of. I don't know what it is. It's not give up, but then I think sometimes I wonder how much. And I really don't even like saying this because I kind of have guilt for my life. Like, I don't mean it's too much. Like, I can't take anything else. Like, I know that I don't have the hardest life. I know how lucky I am.
Yeah, but
I know that.
You don't need to compare because just what you do is very difficult. Don't make any mistake about that.
I have a hard time with that. I feel very guilty.
The nonsense. Throw someone else into your existence. Like, first of all, A, you didn't choose it, okay? You were a little kid and you became famous. B, being in the public eye and just dealing with the things we're talking about people writing stories that are fake about you, all that stuff comes at a price. And if you read it, it comes at a heavier price. But even just knowing it exists, it gets into your head. You have to be very strong to be able to ward that off. And the idea that you don't and that it's easy and that a regular life is easier, horseshit. Regular life is just a regular life. It's not easier or harder, but what you do is fucking hard. Okay. It's very hard. You're very famous. Being very famous is weird. And being very famous your whole life is even weirder. So a normal person develops, right? You go through life and you meet friends and you have to show that you're a good person to get people to like you. You have to show, you know, some sort of some excellence at something for people to praise you. You're getting fucking praise from the time you're a baby,